Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Sunday will be a heat check in Santa Clara, as in a heat check for planet Earth, as the 49ers and Cardinals will play in the hottest game ever staged at Levi's Stadium. As for Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing, and the Cardinals offense, well, it's more like a wellness check, because their offense was mostly fire over the first 2 weeks and mostly cheeks ever since. And because their offense needs to control this football game if they're going to win on Sunday, to limit the exposure of their underfunded, poorly rated defense, and to grind the 49ers defense into submission, especially given the expected game day temperatures. But this offense also needs to spread its wings and fly, to instill and restore faith in a football franchise that is beginning to make people angry again, especially after the scenes in Glendale over the past 2 home games and the past 3 years. And finally, because this offense is clearly a very complicated recipe. Like baked Alaska or beef Wellington, getting the ingredients right is clearly not an easy chore with this quarterback, but at some point, you gotta get the dish in the oven or we're never gonna eat. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Oh man, this is year 6 for me, and they've been great ever since I've been in the league. Got a lot of great players. Obviously, Fred and Nick, 2 of the guys that make it go, but a lot of great players surrounding them for sure. I'm excited for the opportunity. It's always fun. We got to have a great week of practice to be ready for them.
It's Kyler Murray talking about the 49ers defense. The challenge that they present, he's right, they have been really good since he's been in the league, and there hasn't been a ton of success for the Cardinals or Kyler Murray against the San Francisco 49ers, but in my opinion, when we're talking about Kyler Murray and having the discussions about who he is as an NFL quarterback in year 6, this is a crucial time, and you have to remove who the opponent is, which is hard to do this week, I get it, but you got to deliver week in, week out, and it's not happening right now. This is
last couple weeks sure hasn't.
Huge week for Kyler Murray.
No doubt about it. It really is. When you talk about what he needs to be by the end of this year, in my opinion, these next couple of road games are really big-time litmus tests for him. Because, again, just like last year, you can make alibis for the defense. There's not a lot of impact players on the defense, and the metrics have really, really gotten frightening in terms of where they rank among NFL defenses. But this offense should be in a better place, right? Given the fact that coming into the year, Drew Petzing was talked about as a potential head coaching candidate, that people across the NFL really saw some complexity and some brilliance in the schemes and what he's building. Last couple of weeks, that's kind of gotten grounded.
Yeah, and people are starting to talk about that, too. We played some sound from Mina Kimes earlier. She was having a podcast with Ben Solak. And here's Ben Solak's thoughts on Drew Petzing's offense right now.
Petzing right now, real good run game designer. Passing game, they don't know what they want to be just yet. And I think the absence of Trey McBride kind of affects that a little bit. But just look at the receiver room. You draft Marvin Harrison top 5. Right now he's running near league leading rate of vertical routes, right? They're just one-on-ones down the field. Kyler's vacillating between force feeding him to not knowing if he should throw it to him. It's kind of we don't that role is. We like that role for a 4th round rookie who's fast. This is not really Marv. We picked 4 overall. You have Michael Wilson, who was a good player for you last year, big body, but he's a lot more productive in the slot than he is outside, which would be fine if not for the fact that your third receiver is Greg Dortch, who love a Dortch. Everybody loves Dortch. But you got to play the young man in the slot because he's 5'9", $180, right? And so now you have kind of a redundant spot that you're trying to fill. Also, McBride, you want him to be in the slot because he's a separation tight end. So who's your second outside receiver? Are you trying to activate Wilson? You're trying to activate Dortch? They have a lot of questions and challenges in the passing game design that I think will get better over time. But right now it's kind of herky-jerky.
Look, there's a lot to chew on there. There's a lot of truth there. Part of the untruth there is Greg Dortch, 5'9", 180. He's 5'7", 165.
Okay.
Mike Dortch.
But people are starting to wonder. And I brought up the passing game numbers. Kyler Murray is at a career low passing yards per game. I know there is a league-wide trend, passing yardage being down. Kirk Cousins did his best to reverse that trend by himself last night, but That's what needs to be proven. And Trey McBride's back this week.
Yeah. And once again, conceptually, what this offense has to be is James Conner punishing teams up front at the point of attack, and then play action over the top, motion, waggles, bootlegs, expose the defense that way. The dink and dunk in conjunction doesn't work for anybody. And I think maybe part of the deal, getting Kyler Murray back under center, I don't know where the stats have been about this. I know that at the end of last year, we were all kind of like, attaboy,
yeah.
You could do it, right? And it seems like I'm seeing him in the shotgun a ton again. Like on 4th and 1. This is the Cliff Kingsbury stuff that used to drive us insane.
Why are you giving yourself 4 extra yards to get?
Right. And again, so it gets back, okay, why is this happening? Is this a Kyler, hey, I like it better back here? I thought we were past that.
I thought so too.
And you're right, the punishing with James Conner sets up the play action, sets up the bootleg, and that's when Kyler's been most effective this year. And I want to point out that he also debuted, we've often talked about
Mike Dortch.
Kyler this week debuted another new player in the team.
Mike Trey.
Mike Trey?
Mike Trey.
I thought that's where you lay down your microphone when you carry it.
The mic tray?
The mic tray.
You put it next to the mic sock? Yeah, that's what you
thought
do.
that was Mike after junior and senior.
Like the third.
The other thing.
Speaking of which, earlier today, I walked into one of the edit bays, Jarrett, and your screen was up and the speakers were on. Is there a Cardinal song coming that we don't know about?
Every Friday. You don't have to not know about it. Every Friday during the Cardinals season. 9:15 a.m., I think.
Yeah.
It's a good one today.
And then we're going into week 5, 5th straight Friday meeting where it has not been mentioned in the pre-show
It's
meeting.
every Friday. Why do I have to mention
It's
it?
every
Single Friday.
Because it's
Hey,
not your
I've got
show.
a song. Let's do it here.
It's that part I should coordinate.
That's all I'm talking
all I'm
about.
I should
about.
coordinate that.
Well,
You're right with that.
I look forward to hearing it,
This
Jarrett.
is a good one for the Gen X.
What did you just say?
This is good. Angsty Gen Xers will
Yeah.
like this song today.
And to pull back the curtain on this Cardinals song history,
Oh, boy.
not only does Jarrett not mention it in the pre-show meeting, it's not on the front of our minds.
Not front.
There are weeks where he's produced a song and completely
about it.
forgotten
And
to
he's
play it.
forgotten about it. Yes.
Multiple times we get to the last segment of the show and like, oh no. In fact, I think there's even been a week where I forgot it completely. So, like I'm saying,
All right.
how could you possibly forget that it's every single Friday?
You know what I call those weeks that you forget completely? The salad days.
Yes.
We're also wondering about Kyler Murray and his running. It has been down. I mentioned he's 12th among NFL quarterbacks in rushing attempts through 4 weeks. Not exactly maximizing a weapon. Here's more from Mina Kimes on that situation and wondering whether or not Kyler will run more.
Thus far in the season, Kyler Murray leads all quarterbacks in yards per carry. He's third in EPA per carry. But he doesn't always carry the football. And I think there's been moments where I've actually wanted him to do it more. I was so high on Drew Petzing coming into the season, and I'm not low, but I haven't loved the last 2 games, what I've seen from this Arizona Cardinals team. I do think the Niners' run defense has been decent. It was thought to be potentially their biggest weakness coming into this year. But this feels like one where, like, Arizona, trying to get its run game back on track, saw a little bit of that last week, might lean more heavily on Kyler on the ground too. And I think that the Niners will actually have trouble if he does that.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of what Mina Kimes is putting out there and what Ben Solak put out there too. Last week was weird because the run game was actually good, and they lost by 4 touchdowns. That's how weird that game was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the Cardinals turned the ball over 8 times either. They just couldn't get off the field defensively.
Yeah, and running the football becomes a lot easier when the other team is up by 2-3 touchdowns. They don't care about you getting 6-7 yards a pop. Yeah, listen, I do think that the offensive line, this is a big week, obviously. It's all going to spin off that offense. And what's good is I think that either way by the end of the year, we are going to have a resolution on Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there needs to be one.
So do I.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Murata. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.